A woman discovered something terrifying during her prenatal checkup. The male doctor strangely sent the female nurse out of the room. Under the guise of an examination, he brazenly unfastened the woman's top. The woman felt an inexplicable humiliation, allowing the man's fingers to wander over her chest. She could only force a smile to hide her embarrassment, but as the doctor's hands grasped, the woman felt a trace of unease, yet she didn't dare make a sound. The doctor seemed to see through the woman's timidity. He then asked her to spread her legs. The male doctor skillfully put on rubber gloves, but he took advantage when the woman's view was blocked, and secretly took the leather gloves off. The male doctor perversely began the gynecological exam. He thought his actions were unseen and unknown, but the woman faintly sensed something strange, yet, suffering because she was a pregnant woman, she could only choose to swallow her anger, letting the male doctor do as he pleased here. When the examination ended, the woman fled the hospital in panic. She returned home, and stayed in the bathroom for a full 3 hours. The woman couldn't believe what she had experienced. Soon the husband noticed his wife's abnormality. She truthfully recounted the incident to him. The woman wasn't sure if this was the normal procedure, but the doctor's behavior made her feel sick. Encouraged by her husband, they ultimately chose to report it to the police. Soon the incident blew up online. Once the scandal broke, multiple women also came forward simultaneously. Under the pressure of public opinion, the male doctor ultimately chose to commit suicide. The next day the newspapers heavily publicized the man's scandal. The woman thought life had returned to normal. Little did she know this was just the start of the nightmare. Soon the baby was successfully born. Lisa wanted to build a greenhouse garden in the backyard. Jeff was very supportive, but he thought neither of them could care for the child like this, so he suggested hiring a nanny. The next morning, Daisy came for the interview through the agency, but her glamorous appearance didn't seem like a nanny's at all. Under Lisa's questioning, Daisy then told the truth. It turned out a month ago, she lost the baby in her womb due to an accident, and lost the ability to bear children forever. That's why she wanted to find a nanny job. It could also indirectly fulfill her dream of being a mother. Just then Jeff returned home. When he saw their sweet interaction, a hint of jealousy showed in Daisy's eyes. The couple warmly invited her to stay for dinner. However, when Lisa held the child and prepared to sit down, she accidentally dropped her earring, but Daisy saw it and chose not to speak up. After the dinner, the couple was discussing whether to hire this nanny, when Daisy overheard their conversation. To fight for this job, Daisy suddenly screamed in fright. The couple rushed back to the room. Unexpectedly, Daisy took out that earring, told them she found it in the baby's mouth. She thus gained their trust. Daisy easily got the job. The next day she moved in with her luggage, and brought a wind chime, said it could help the baby sleep. Lisa kindly showed her around the house, and thoughtfully prepared the spare room. However, late at night, when everyone was fast asleep, Daisy secretly went to the baby's room. She carefully closed the door, afraid of waking the couple next door. Looking at the infant before her, the woman slowly picked up a pillow nearby. Just when you'd think she was about to do something beastly, unexpectedly, Daisy slowly placed the pillow against the crib. Then she opened her clothes, and actually started breastfeeding the baby. Looking at the baby in her arms, Daisy felt a hint of happiness. The next day Lisa was carefully getting dressed. Daisy again looked at her with envy. She lied, saying the other should wear black clothes, but Lisa didn't intend to take her advice, insisted that red suited her better. Daisy looked at the dress on the bed, then looked at the perfume on the table. A wicked idea suddenly arose. The moment Lisa finished changing clothes, she found something staining the collar. Daisy hurriedly offered to clean it for Lisa, but was told the perfume was hard to wash off. She could only change into a plain dress. Lisa hurriedly left home with her friend, and Daisy stayed home to look after the child. The friend warned Lisa, never keep an attractive woman around, otherwise, it might affect your position as the lady of the house. But naive Lisa didn't take it to heart. In the following days, Daisy would put the girl to sleep every day, while also secretly breastfeeding the infant. She was more like a real mother. Even the neighbors thought the child was hers.
He has your eyes, you know. Do you really think so? Oh, absolutely.
This made Daisy feel extremely happy, and indirectly revealed her true feelings, how she wished she could live in a family like this. One day Daisy learned from the girl that she was often bullied by classmates at school, but her mother taught her always to be polite and yielding. Angered by this, Daisy found the boy. Without a word, dragged him to the wall, humiliated the boy in front of the whole class. This made the girl start to see her in a new light. One day Lisa returned home, but the child refused to breastfeed. She found Daisy, and told her about the baby's unusual behavior, but Daisy outright denied her suspicion. What Lisa didn't know was, the reason the child refused her breast milk was all because of Daisy, secretly making the baby accustomed to her scent. While the two were talking, the husband hurried out with documents. When she learned he was going out to mail them, Lisa said she happened to be going to the post office too, so he gave the letters to his wife. But when Lisa arrived at the post office, she found the letters in her bag were gone. It turned out Daisy, while she was working, secretly took the letters from the bag. Then she hid in the bathroom, and tore Jeff's important documents to shreds. She was jealous of Lisa having such a happy family. family, and even more jealous of her having such a loving husband. When Lisa told Daisy about losing the letters, she acted particularly surprised. In a panic, Lisa also had an asthma attack, and Daisy, seeing this, was secretly pleased. When she returned home, she kept apologizing to her husband. Even though it was her work result from nearly half a year, he still didn't blame his wife. The next day he was working in the lab as usual. Unexpectedly, Daisy showed up. She knew Lisa's birthday was coming soon, so she suggested throwing her a party. Jeff was very grateful to hear this. After all, it wasn't the kind of romance a nerd like him could think of. He was glad to have found such a good nanny. Daisy saw Jeff staring intently at her, and deliberately took off her coat in front of him, but this also attracted the attention of his melon-eating colleagues. Jeff, worried about being misunderstood by them, briefly said a few words and sent Daisy away. After returning, she breastfed the baby again, but was accidentally seen by the family's gardener. When Daisy found her secret was exposed, she found the gardener and threatened him, and scolded him to keep his mouth shut. Then she went to Lisa, and started speaking ill of the gardener, but the man had worked for their family for years. Lisa found it hard to believe Daisy's nonsense, but she found in the gardener's toolbox a piece of her daughter's underwear. Clearly, this was Daisy's scheme, but Lisa was completely kept in the dark. She angrily found the gardener, and kicked the man out of the house. The daughter was disappointed in her mother because of this. Instead, she grew closer to Daisy, even telling Daisy all her secrets. The daughter didn't understand why her mother fired the gardener, but Daisy said maybe Lisa didn't like him, and worried she herself might be kicked out one day too. This made the daughter dislike her mother even more, even thinking she was a bad person. One day the friend found Lisa. Unexpectedly, the baby was crying incessantly. No matter how she tried, she couldn't get the child to stop. However, when Daisy took the baby, the child instantly started smiling. This also made Lisa seem very embarrassed. Luckily, a breeze blew by. The pleasant wind chime sound eased the awkward atmosphere. At night the couple was sleeping. Jeff was suddenly awakened by a noise. He thought a thief had broken in, but the scene before him stunned the man. Daisy's thin nightgown made her full body faintly visible. This made Jeff lose his focus for a moment. Daisy saw the opportunity had come. She just wanted to invite the man to sit down for a drink. But unexpectedly, Jeff was a gentleman. He said goodnight to Daisy and hurried away. This also surprised Daisy. The next day Lisa came to do laundry, but found a lighter in her husband's pocket. But her husband had clearly quit smoking long ago. So whose was this? Lisa thought her friend had betrayed her. She angrily confronted Jeff, but unexpectedly, the house was already full of guests. This made Lisa feel very embarrassed. The friend quickly left the scene. Lisa apologized for today's impulsiveness. Luckily, her husband didn't blame her. To get over this quickly, Lisa suggested the whole family go on a trip, but she didn't want to bring Daisy. Little did they know their conversation was overheard by Daisy through the toy walkie-talkie, and she learned Lisa didn't like her. She felt that since hiring this nanny, everything seemed to have changed. There was an indescribable feeling, but Jeff thought Daisy had contributed a lot to the family. He hoped his wife would treat her like family. This made Daisy develop murderous intentions towards Lisa. One morning, Daisy, while everyone was still asleep, went secretly to the greenhouse, and tampered with the glass on the roof. But what she never expected was, Lisa didn't go to the greenhouse, but hurriedly left home. Meanwhile, the friend planned to buy a villa, but found an identical wind chime in the property listing. The woman instantly had a bad feeling. She hurriedly went to the library to check information. Unexpectedly, in an old newspaper, she saw Daisy's photo. The woman rushed urgently to Lisa's house. She got straight to the point and exposed Daisy's true identity. It turned out the woman was the wife of that doctor from back then. After her husband's suicide to escape guilt, she also lost all their property. And Daisy was already pregnant at that time, but was accidentally injured because of this incident. Not only did she lose her own child, but also lost the ability to become a mother. She blamed all this on Lisa. That's why she came here for revenge. Seeing her identity exposed, she quickly said Lisa was in the greenhouse behind. However, when the friend hurried over, she accidentally triggered the previously set trap. The woman was killed on the spot by the shattering glass, and Daisy watched with great relish from inside the house. Then she emptied all of Lisa's asthma medication, and contentedly threw it into the drawer. Daisy took the baby out shopping as usual, creating an alibi for herself. However, when Lisa entered the greenhouse, she saw her friend already dead at home. The sudden shock caused her asthma to attack. Lisa hurriedly ran back to her room. She wanted to call for help, but her severe asthma made her unable to speak. When she searched for the inhaler in the drawer, she found it was completely empty. Lisa struggled to walk outside. She wanted to seek help but suddenly fainted, could only quietly wait for death. Luckily, she had previously dialed the emergency number, and successfully survived. After the doctor's rescue, Lisa's life was saved, but this matter was also known by the mentally challenged gardener, but he could only wait silently downstairs. After Jeff returned home, Daisy saw the opportunity was ripe. Again cast her charm on the man. This time Jeff, in a daze, almost gave in. Luckily he calmed down in time.
There's only one woman for me.
Hearing this, Daisy could only disappointedly walk back to her room. Not long after, Lisa was finally discharged from the hospital, but now Daisy seemed like a different person, speaking to Lisa completely in the tone of the lady of the house, even wearing Lisa's favorite jewelry. This made Lisa very upset. At night, when Lisa wanted to go downstairs, she found her husband enjoying himself in the living room, as if she was more of an outsider. The next day Lisa was clearing her friend's belongings, but found a note for her in the pocket. Puzzled, she went to her friend's office, and found that mansion document here. Then she drove and found this villa, and learned the history of the house from the real estate agent. The decoration style of the nursery in the villa was exactly the same as the one in her own home. Lisa instantly understood everything. She hurriedly rushed home, without a word, threw a punch. Jeff tried to stop her, but Lisa told him the truth. Daisy, her identity exposed, was unusually calm. She didn't offer any explanation, turned and left the room. Lisa believed her friend's death was also related to Daisy. For the family's safety, they planned to move to a hotel for a few days. However, while Lisa was packing, Jeff heard a noise from the basement. He thought it was his daughter downstairs, but found it was just an alarm clock. However, when he prepared to go up, he didn't know Daisy suddenly appeared. Hearing the noise, Lisa came down to check, found her husband with broken legs. Lisa could only return to the living room to call the police, but Daisy was already behind her. At the critical moment, the daughter quickly warned. Lisa dodged a fatal blow, but Daisy, with a shovel, didn't want to let the woman go. Although she struggled desperately, she was still knocked out with one hit. Then Daisy went upstairs. She wanted to take the two children, but the crib was already empty. Daisy angrily tried to break down the door. The girl could only hide with her brother. Soon Daisy broke through the wooden door, but unexpectedly ran into the former gardener. The woman stepped towards the man, ordered him to hand over the children. Just as she was about to go insane, suddenly Lisa burst in. She grabbed a kitchen knife, but unexpectedly, Daisy wasn't afraid at all. Knocked the dagger away with a few moves, then kicked her down. But just as she was about to finish Lisa, suddenly a large hand covered her mouth. But how could the kind-hearted gardener bring himself to do it? Daisy broke free from the arm, and gave him a beating, but then Lisa got up from the floor, and charged madly at Daisy. This nightmare life was finally over.